Namaskar, Sadhguru.
Namaskar, Vijay.
I'm so happy that I got an opportunity to wish you on your birthday.
Not yet.
I feel really happy that I got an opportunity, and I pray God for your long life. God should give you good health, happiness, and your blessings to change this world, not the India but the world. I wish you once again, Gurudev.
Namaskar.
Sadhguru, today we are going to talk about the conscious planet. Man has caused irreparable damage to nature. Trees have been cut down, forests destroyed, wildlife suffer, mountains dug up, and even the course of rivers have been changed. Many rivers have vanished also. I am also deeply concerned about the environment. I was a member of parliament for 18 years, Sadhguru, and I kept raising issues concerning the environment in the upper house. I, I played a very important role, being I was in the committee of the environment, and we uh, in making policies also, Sadhguru. And now we are facing the deadly virus. As the chairman of the Maharashtra, the largest newspaper group, Lokmat Media, I have been writing continuously on the environment so that the people can be made aware of motherland. This Mother Earth is very important for all of us. I have inherent the legacy of supporting public issues from my father, the freedom fighter Jawaharlal Darda. I am practitioner of Jainism, and Lord Mahavir was one of the first noble souls to talk about the environment. Jain preachings emphasizes the need for preventing and preserving the environment. Even the plugging of flowers is prohibited in Jainism. Our religion inspires all of us to conserve the water and value the life forms. Even killing of ants is very big sin. But today, atrocities are taking place all over the world in the name of religion. Women are most affected by this atmosphere of violence and mayhem. I always keep writing on such important topics as well. I wish that these chaos come to an end and the world becomes a better place, one and all. Sadhguru, I have so many issues in my mind, but and I'm sure my issues you'll try to uh, satisfy me, and also why is the spiritual guru taking up environment issues? Can environment and the spirituality coexist?
There is there is no such thing as environment. This is all keyhole vision of modern education systems, where you're trying to look at the world in many pieces. Otherwise, there's no such thing as environment. Today, modern science also is coming to this. Because the whole scientific attitude and education is largely intellect-oriented, if I ask you a simple question, would you like your intellect to be sharp or blunt? What would be the answer, Vijay?
Sharp.
Sharp, isn't it? So, intellect is like a knife. The sharper it is, the better it is. What
Yeah,
can you
yeah.
do? What can you do with a knife? You can only cut with a knife. You cannot stitch with a knife. If you try to stitch your clothes with a knife, it'll become all tatters. That's all that's happening to the world. We are trying to handle every aspect of life through our intellect, thinking that this is the only way to handle life. Because we have borrowed education systems from the West, where it's purely intellectual in nature, now we cut up everything into pieces. There is no such thing as environment, there is no such thing as me. Because the very body that you carry is the same thing as the soil that you walk upon. If you realize this right now, you will act in one way, you will live in one way, you will experience life in a certain way. Otherwise, one day when we are buried, we will understand we are part of the earth. Most people get it only after they are dead. But if you get it when you're alive, naturally you will respond to that which is the very source of your life, and it is your life. There is no such thing as my life as a separate entity. Our life is happening in coherence with everything else. Today, modern scientists are telling you, the cellular scientists are telling you, they don't know what is a living cell, the human cell, because what was once a bacteria became the mitochondrion or the powerhouse of the human cell. So right now we are saying virus, but more than 52% of our body is largely microorganisms, less of our own genetic substance and more of microorganisms. So where is there such a thing as me and environment? Me is environment is me. There is no difference between the two.
Yeah, Sadhguru. Over the years, we have created a man and the nature conflict. The coronavirus pandemic has taught us to be more in tune with the planet. How can we carry the learning and the work towards a conscious planet, Sadhguru?
See, there is there is only one problem on the planet, the human being. Tell me, is there any other problem? Right now we are thinking virus is the problem. No,
Yeah.
there's only one problem, the human being. What is the problem about the human being? In terms of evolutionary scale of life happening in this planet, we are the highest point of evolution right now. We are the peak of evolution, we are the peak of intelligence, we are the peak of capability. But our intelligence and our capability is working against our own well-being. Right now, so you said wherever in Churchgate, not only in Churchgate, everywhere, I'm saying people are stressed and tensed. Tension, stress, misery, depression, whatever you want to call it. Different levels of human suffering. Well, if physical suffering happens to you either because of ailments or injury or disease or something like that, that's a different matter. But 95% of human suffering is mental. Mental suffering means it is self-inflicted suffering. That means you have a sharp knife, we were talking about a sharp intellect. You have a sharp knife, you don't know how to hold it, you poke yourself all the time. If you can sit in one place and suffer, this means your own intelligence has become the basis of your suffering. If we remove half your brain, you would be peaceful. Because today, unfortunately, even most spiritual teachers are going about saying that peace of mind is the ultimate goal of your life. Such people will only rest in peace. Because the fundamental reason why even peace has become an ultimate aspiration is, peace is most basic. If you want to enjoy your meal today, if you want to enjoy your dinner today, at least you must be peaceful. If you're not ecstatic, at least you
Yeah.
must be peaceful. So now peace has been made the ultimate goal. What should be the most fundamental of your life has reached the ultimate. If you think A, the alphabet A is the last alphabet, there is a problem, isn't it? To be peaceful, if you want to enjoy a walk on the street, you must be peaceful. If you want to enjoy the company of a few people in your family, you must be peaceful. If you want to enjoy the food that you eat, you must be peaceful. But now people are saying peace is the ultimate goal of life. This is simply because in our education systems, in our social structures, there is simply no knowledge, no attempt to give any kind of understanding of how to handle our own body, our own mind, our intelligence, our emotions, how to handle this. There is simply nothing. We are all busy conquering the world. We want to conquer other planets also. We're going to the moon, we're going to the Mars, but we don't know a damn thing here. This is our problem, because our education system is about conquest. not about well-being, not about profoundness of experience, not about impacting the world in a positive way. It's all about conquering, conquering, conquering. Because of this, even simple things have become very complicated. In the last 50 to 70 years, since 80% of the biomass and insect population is gone, 60% of the vertebrate population is gone, and 1/5 of the species on the planet are under extinction threat right now. And they are saying 50% of the species will be facing threat by the end of this century. By the end of this, the 21st century, 50% of the life on this planet will be facing extinction. When we do not understand our life happens here only because of incessant work by every other creature on this planet. Like from a microorganism to bacteria to virus to insects and worms and birds and animals and trees and plants, they're all working constantly, out of which we are living. It is very important to understand this and know this experientially, but now we are driving all other life towards extinction. This means our intelligence is working against us. Once our intelligence works against us, there is no force in the universe which can save us. This is very important. So it's very important that we make this generation of people into a more holistic intelligence, not just intellect which cuts everything into pieces.
Sadhguru, you raised the two issues in between this. One is peace and the education. So I would like to know how and where you get the peace. How do you get, whose responsibility is to get the peace?
Now,
Is
where do you
it
get
the,
the tension? First tell me that.
I would say, but you see, it's very easy to get that, but is where do you get the peace?
No, but where
And
do you get
about
the
the,
tension?
sorry,
Where do you get the tension?
all around we are getting the tension.
No, all around there's no tension. It is just human inability to handle their own intelligence which is causing stress and tension. If you knew how to use your mind, would you cause joy or misery to yourself? Suppose it so happens your two fingers just pop
Mhm.
up and poke your eyeballs. What should we do with these two fingers? That means we don't know how to use our hands, isn't it? Similarly, we do not know how to use our own intelligence. Our evolved intelligence has become a major problem. If we had the brain of an earthworm, we would also be peaceful. How unfortunate is that? Tell me, is intelligence a solution or a problem? Intelligence should be a solution. Unfortunately, it's become a problem.
Absolutely. I mean, intelligence should be the solution, but it has become the problem. And how to
This is…
solve this problem is very
no,
important.
this is because our entire attitude has become one of conquest. Everything… education system is about conquest. From the kindergarten we have started, who is first, who is second, all right? A little child, a 5-year-old child is being told you must be on top of everybody else in your class. Are you a
Hmm.
topper or not? What does a topper mean? That means every other child in the school must be below you. With this attitude, naturally we will suffer.
We've been taught that you should be the best.
Yeah.
You must get the more and more marks, but they don't talk about the values. They don't talk about the living values. They talk about the society values. They don't talk about the family values. They teach only that get the numbers.
No, all that is secondary. The first and foremost thing is, as a human being, you have hands, you have legs, you have brains. You must
Yes,
know how to use it for your well-being, isn't it? If your
I
hand
feel
starts… if your hand starts beating you in the face, is this well-being? Similarly, if your mind starts beating you up, you call it stress, anxiety, this, that, whatever, but essentially your mind is beating you up, isn't it?
but Sadhguru, you see, in this population, almost 80% of the population of this nation is fighting for two modest foods, for the water,
That is also
for
a
the
problem. That is also a problem. In 1947, we were 33 crore people. Today we are 125. Why
Yeah.
have we multiplied 4 times in 74 years? Well, life expectancy has gone up, which is a very good thing. From 28 years in 1947, today we are
Yeah.
72 or 73, which is a fantastic achievement for a nation.
Yeah.
But is it not it is not… I'm not propounding any philosophy. Is it not simple arithmetic to understand that if I postpone my death, I must also postpone my birth?
Sadhguru, I'll go to another question because the entire Maharashtra and particularly Vidarbha is distressed with the increasing number of farmer suicide. What can people of Maharashtra do to alternate farmer suicide? They're
First of all,
suffering.
let me address the most basic aspect of this. The Vidarbha region is suffering the way it is suffering because this is largely basalt region. So it is only suitable certain types of trees and vegetation. It is not suitable for monoculture, but we are trying to do that. So the farmer is suffering because he invests in that land which will not yield easily, and he loses money and loses money year after year, and he gets into a point of desperation where suicide has become the unfortunate way. And unfortunately, this Yavatmal region has become the suicide capital of the country.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why we went there, because I decided to go there because I said, this has to be reversed. We will reverse it, I'm 100% sure we will reverse the process. Actually, in the last 6 months or 8 months, I don't think there is a single suicide in the area because we have connected with all the families. Our volunteers are on the phone with every family. There's just some trouble, they're able to at least call them. Even if you are not able to provide financial assistance to them, at least there's an emotional strength and inspiration so that they
But
stay
this
on.
climate is really upsetting them very much.
No, it is the soil quality, it is basalt. So why are people farming a basalt region? Simply because the population pressure is such. If we don't address the basic population pressure, then naturally people are trying to farm in unfriendly soils. In an unfriendly soil when you farm, naturally it will drive you to desperation. People invest, there is no special scheme for them, it's the same as everywhere else. They take bank loans, they invest and they can't pay back and they're in
Yes.
trouble, then they go to money lenders and more pressure, and this is happening. So people are going on saying the problem is money lenders, this, that. No, that is a consequence. The real problem is the soil is not fertile. If you want to make it fertile, substantial amount of green cover needs to come. There is no other way to make soil fertile because without putting organic material into the soil, it will not become rich. Organic material can come from only two sources. One is the green litter from the trees, another is the animal waste. Trees are gone long time ago. Animals are all, traveling abroad now. They are not on the
Yeah.
farm anymore. So there is no way to enrich the soil. So in a poor soil, you're trying to do agriculture, naturally it'll lead to a disaster. Right now, it's not just Yavatmal. Yavatmal situation will multiply to many parts of the country because 52% of India's soil has been declared as degenerated soil. Nearly
True.
40% or so has been declared as fallow. I'm saying
Yeah.
one of the most fertile lands on the planet at one time. Now we have
Yeah.
driven in this direction in just 50 years of time. So it is time to turn this around. If we want to turn this around, it is very, very important that tree cultivation should be part of the farming practice. This is what we're bringing about in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu in a huge way. When we convert farmers into tree farming or tree-based agriculture where they can grow intercropping, one thing that happens is the soil condition improves significantly. Water sequestering happens to what extent means, for example, in the Kaveri basin right now, where I was born, near the banks of Kaveri, I lived on the banks of Kaveri. Kaveri has been very, very part of my life at one time. Today, if you look at it, in my eyes, it's less than 35%, 40% of what it was when I was a young boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if this has to come back, what is the problem? The problem is this: in the Kaveri basin, they have removed 82% of the green cover in the last 50 years. In the Ganga basin, which accounts for 25% of India's geography, we have removed over 92% of the green cover. For the first time, we've been working with the government, and now the government has agreed that one of the ways to rejuvenate rivers is to put the trees back in the river basin. This is coming back, but it
But
needs
you
to
were able
happen.
to convince the government?
Yes, now in policy it's come, because Rally for Rivers policy was just this, and now they've made it the official
Great job,
policy.
great job. To convince the government is not a easy job.
No, the government is convinced because people were convinced. This is very important. When I did the Rally for Rivers movement, 162 million people participated in the movement. Once
Yes,
they
yes.
saw those kind of numbers, the government is always convinced when the people are convinced. So they made this the official recommended policy for all the 28 states. Now some of the states are going aggressively in that… proactively in that direction. Unfortunately, this year everything has slowed down because of
Great
this
job.
pandemic.
It's a great job. I mean, so, Sadhguru, with the rally of the rivers and the Kaveri calling, you are bringing the world's attention to dying Indians' rivers. What should be the government's role in this?
As I said earlier, see, the Karnataka government has taken some aggressive steps, very proactive steps. The important thing is
I have
125…
seen, Sadhguru, in your talk, you have been talking about the Karnataka government. Do you think that the government of Maharashtra is not doing in this direction?
I will come to that. Government of Maharashtra did a lot in planting trees. They planted something like 50 crore trees or something, it is wonderful. But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, maximum number of land is owned by the farmer. Nearly 84% of the land is in the farmer's hands. That is where the trees need to go. It can only go there if it is commercially successful for him, if it is an economic benefit for him. So in this direction we've been working. One thing is to remove the tax for the farmer-producer companies, which the government did about 2 years ago. And another thing is to give subsidy, which only now Karnataka and a few other states like in the northeastern states have done this, but other states are yet to come up with it. They need a subsidy to shift, because first 4 years there is a loss of income. But in 5 to 7 years, the income has gone up anywhere between 300 to 800%. We have converted over 70,000 farmers to agroforestry. Their incomes have gone up 3 to 8 times in 5 to 7 years. But first 3 4 years there is a loss. In that loss, if it's compensated, millions of farmers will go for this. This is what is significant. Why I'm repeatedly saying Karnataka is because this is what is significant. First 4 years, they have given a subsidy. Now 5.2 million farmers in the Kaveri basin, we are trying to push them towards 30% agro-based, 30% tree-based agriculture. In Maharashtra, what significant thing has been done is, they formed a special purpose vehicle now for Yavatmal, which is the way to go forward. Without these special purpose vehicles, farmers cannot work with 12 different ministries of the government. It's simply impossible to put all of
Yeah,
them together. This
yeah.
special purpose vehicle with one good officer will do the magic, and definitely we will show you the impact of that in Yavatmal Taluk.
Thank you, Sadhguru. We have heard that you have traveled extensive in the Western Ghat of Maharashtra. What is your favorite place in that Ghat? And can you talk
Well,
about your relationship with that Western Ghat?
Uh, I spent a lot of time on the Ghats. One thing is motorcycling, another thing is trekking. Almost…
Trekking?
yes, trekking a lot. I've climbed almost all the peaks in the Karnataka part of the Western Ghat. In the
Wow.
Maharashtra part of the Western Ghat, I've been to one place which took me back a few times is the Goraknath caves, where I went and spent some time. And I've ridden from, from Goa to Kanyakumari about 11 times on my motorcycle, up and down. Oh,
But where you would like to live there?
hmm?
Would you
Live in the
like
mountains.
to any place you like where you are special? Your feelings?
Uh, Right now, we are looking to set up a place near Lonavala, closer to Pune, but further, uh, a little further away from Lonavala towards Pune. We are planning to set up a center, but let us see, land and other things need to come together. We we need help from people like you because we don't have the wherewithal to handle the real estate in Maharashtra.
We are always with you because you are doing a tremendous work. I mean, you are inspiring every state, I must say. Sadhguru, I have one question in my mind. The millions of the devotees visit Shirdi every year to take the blessing of the Shirdi Sai Baba's Samadhi. Can you talk about what is the spiritual significance?
I think it's more an inspiration from that sage. I have not been there because I'm not known to go to popular, temples. Generally, I don't. Not because of any resistance, because too many people and things, there's nothing you can do there as such. But I think it's the inspiration of that one man which has kept up people for generations, and his grace and blessings have nurtured many people. So this is the power of an individual human being. When he crosses certain limitations, this is what he can do to millions of lives. That's what is wonderful.
Sadhguru, what do you think, how media can help you into your project?
In Maharashtra, definitely we need all the help we can get
Yeah,
because
I'm with you.
without people's participation, you cannot make this project successful. This cannot be just done by a government because you need to
Yes,
work with people. Transitioning from one way of doing things to another is not going to happen by changing policies. Policy changes we've brought about, we got the APMC Act relaxed, now the farmer can sell his produce wherever he wants. We got the timber laws which were there. See, the laws in the country were such because of environmental activists and others. If you grow a tree in your own land and you cut it when you need it, you could be arrested. This is the law. So
but
now
you,
now we've got that relaxed, that if you grow trees in
yes,
your land, you can cut it and transport it across the country. Only now, just about 20 or 25 days ago, this law was relaxed. Now you can transport timber from any part of the
yes,
country to any part that you want. This is very important, and now the Environment Ministry has created a digital platform that you can
yeah.
sell your timber on the digital platform.
Uh-huh.
These are
Sadhguru,
very important bottlenecks to go.
so you suggest that farmers should grow the trees like timbers or the bamboos in their field, in their farm?
See, the thing is, once a tree comes up, there is a certain science to this. It's not just letting the trees grow. Now, in between, you can do the cropping. So when your crop needs sunlight, you trim the trees so that it goes straight, so that the sunlight falls on the crops. When the
Mhm.
crop doesn't need sunlight, you allow the trees to grow. The more you prune it, the more it tends to grow taller because that
That's,
is the nature of the tree.
yeah.
So, what will a farmer do with this? See, right now, over 63,000 crores worth of timber, raw timber is being imported into the country. Over
Mhm.
112 crore rupees worth of timber products are coming into the country. So why
Mhm.
should our farmer benefit? We don't want to benefit. Right now, if you take a plane ride from Delhi to, let's say, Chennai, if you look down every 5 minutes, except the
Yeah,
Western Ghats, everything
yeah,
looks like a brown desert. No tree
absolutely.
anywhere.
Yeah.
It is very important because the only source of water that we have in our country is monsoons. Monsoon rain is the only source of water. We must understand rivers are not a source of water. Lakes and ponds and wells are not sources of water. They are the destination for the rainwater to go into. So when the
Mhm.
rain comes down, one thing that's happening, all of you in Mumbai are experiencing this very severely. See, I clearly noticed this about 40 years ago, 45 years ago. the monsoon rain would happen anywhere between 75 to 140 days. Today, most of the rain is happening somewhere between 40 to 80 days. Same volume of water is coming down in the form of rain, but it's coming down in a compressed time. Because of this, every year you have flood, the same place which has flood, after 3 months you go there, there is a drought. Because the water should percolate into the earth. Instead of that, it's running away on the surface. When it runs away on the surface, we call it flood. When there is no water, we call it drought. If water has to percolate, the most basic thing is there must be substantial green cover or tree cover on the land. Otherwise, water will not go into the land, it runs on the surface. This is leading to desertification. About 52% of India's land could become a desert in the next 30 years' time.
Oh,
We are living like we are the last generation. We must change this, we must turn this around in this generation. It's very, very important.
Sadhguru, rather I can say, I don't know how much time you have, but I can ask a question about the youths. Because you see, I see everywhere they are very much frustrated, very much frustrated. They don't have the laws. If they are lost, they lost their job because of this COVID-19. So, and this frustration is going toward the this violence. And also, I see that a lot of domestic violence is also because of this. So, what do you suggest and how do you preach? What do you give the message?
Work from home. Work from home is causing trouble to the home situation. Now, about the youth in the country, the one thing is, we are picking this up from Western societies, that life is becoming all about me and me alone. The nature of the culture of Bharat is, our commitment is larger than myself always. Me is the last person in my life. This is how we always lived. I am the last person in my life, not the first person. Now I am the only person in my life. So this whole, the technology of communication, unfortunately, people are not necessarily using it in a positive way. If the youth use this ability to communicate properly, in the right sense, in a way it benefits them and everybody else, then this technology can be the greatest possibility, because never before we could communicate to the world any idea as we can today. See, right now you are sitting in Nagpur, I am sitting in Tennessee, but we are able to speak. When was this possible?
Yeah,
When
very
was
true.
this ever possible? This is the first time. So at this time, if you don't spread the right ideas, right mindset, right way of looking at life, then we will make a disaster out of it. This whole thing about social media and everything going, it's kind of a runaway. It's kind of a runaway vehicle. It's just running away without direction. All kinds of people from background, they're manipulating it in so many different ways. So what I would like to say is about the youth. They must understand that their well-being is not divorced from the well-being of every other life, every other human being and every other life. From a worm to insect to bird to animal to tree, it is important. If this has to come, a more profound experience of life needs to happen. Youth means a certain level of energy. When this energy is there, if there is no balance, it's a disaster. Energy without balance is disaster. So, to bring balance into the life of young people, the necessary practices and necessary attitudes and necessary culturing is simply missing. Simply missing. If you just say do one simple yoga in the school, religious matters will come into the picture. You to bend and twist, where is your religion, I am asking? To become rigid is the way of your religion? No. There is no religion in this. You can do whatever religion you want if you like, or you can do nothing about it. The important thing is, as a human being, as a life, you must be at the peak of well-being. This is very important. If you're at the peak of well-being, you being joyful, you being peaceful are natural aspects of your life. Please, Vijayji, tell me, with yourself and with everybody else that you deal with. Is it true when a man or a woman is very happy, they do their best? When
Yes.
you are happy, you do your
Uh-huh.
best. When you're
Yeah.
unhappy, you do your worst.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, why have we not focused on this? That the most important thing is, all entire Indian spiritual process, the land of Bharat is always focused on Anand.
Hmm.
That means you
Yeah.
must be blissful. If
Yeah.
you're
Anand.
blissful, you will naturally do your best. If you're miserable, you naturally do the worst. So we are trying to control the society with morality, with values, with all kinds of stupid ethics. No, what is needed is a human being should be feeling wonderful. When he or she is feeling wonderful, they do wonderful things.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. But still, I feel we need your more interaction, more communication with this generation. Sadhguruji, last question, only last question now.
I must tell you this, we have right now translated or dubbed even our inner engineering program into Marathi. So
Really?
people
Oh, congratulations.
people who do not understand English can still go through it.
Congratulations. Uh, so, thank you very much. Before I conclude this, one question is very much pertaining to my mind. The women of this world are the most victim. Their sufferer is I can't see it. I mean, when I read about the religion, when I see the different countries, different part of this religions countries, the most suffering of the conflict is the women and women. What do you say, Guruji, for this?
Yes, unfortunately, in consequence, it is so. But in a fundamental sense, the problem is not just about women. The problem is anybody who is little weaker than us physically, we want to crush them. Unfortunately, women happen to be physically little weaker, though without them we couldn't be born. In spite of that, physically because they are weaker, we try to crush them, unfortunately. So this is not just about women, we need to understand, we need to come to an evolution within ourselves that if you see anything which is weaker than you nurture it into strength, you don't crush it. This fundamental consciousness has to come. So it is not just women. Insects are screaming that they are the most exploited, all right? Worms are screaming they are the most exploited because unfortunately man has gotten into this mode. Anything little weaker than us, we want to crush it. Even if it's our own species, we want to crush it. Because crushing is not about women, not about children, not about insects, not about worms. Anything that we can dominate and conquer and, you know, make it meaningless, unfortunately we are in that mode. For this, what is needed is consciousness, because consciousness means your identity is not of your physical nature, your identity is much larger. Your experience of life is not limited to your physical nature, your experience is much larger than your physical self. Once this happens, the need to control or crush a woman or any other life for that matter will go away. This is the reason why we need a conscious planet. In this effort to create a conscious planet, we are starting a major global movement across the world to involve at least 60% of the world's population. We want to involve 60% of the world's population, a minimum, so that because once the people are there, all the democratic governments will get focused on this. One consequence of this is environmental well-being, but really if you look at it, if human beings become conscious, the need to dominate, the need to confront, the new need for conflict, need for violence will go away within you. Controlling violence is one thing, but losing the need for violence is what is needed. That will only happen when we create conscious human beings and a conscious planet. Thank you very much, Vijayji.
Thank you very much. I'm really grateful to you from my side, from the 13 crores of Maharashtra's population, because Lokmat represent them. And on your once again on your birthday, we wish you very happy birthday. God bless you, and you always give us this blessing to all the people who loves. Thank you very much once again.
My blessings are with you and the people of Maharashtra, particularly the Wagadi people. I will be
Yeah,
visiting Wagadi sometime in the coming year probably. And please make a visit to the Isha Yoga Center in Coimbatore. That's something that you must…
definitely. I'll come. I'll come and stay with you very soon, as soon as it's open. But I extend my invitation to visit Yavatmal, pay us,
I'll…
and we'll be very happy. Thank you very much, Guruji. Thank you very
Namaskar.
much once again. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
My blessings to you and your family. Namaskar.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.